Hello everyone, good morning. Today is 19th of December and welcome to the Hindu newspaper analysis discussion. So guys, in the today's video, we are going to discuss the entire analysis of the Hindu newspaper. We'll take the articles, will simplify them along with the background as well as the way forward. Now before starting up, I would like to tell you that if you are new here, you can download the synoptic notes. In these synoptic notes, the explainer PDF has been given. Okay, so you can download it, and the link for this particular PDF is available at the Telegram channel, and the link for Telegram has been given in the description box in YouTube. Moreover, you can directly visit the Telegram and can search there by typing the channel name, that is Thinking Palette by Sahil. Okay, so please download this particular PDF note. I will highly be insisting on that particular thing. Now, moving on, but before starting, let's take the overview of the entire newspaper so that we can understand that which articles are actually important. Okay, so first article we see that the Argentina has won the FIFA World Cup 2022. Then the next article, the citizenship path to be eased for 6 minority groups from 3 nations. We'll see this particular article, guys. We'll see that how this particular thing is different from the Citizenship Amendment Act that came. All those things we are going to discuss. Then after that, moving on, boycott Chinese goods and all such kind of things. But not important article, it is about the regional political issues that are going on. Continuing in this particular thing, again the regional politics advertisements have been given, not very much important. So directly we'll come to the editorial page, and on the editorial page, first article we can see is India's crushing court backlogs. So will see this in the article, that how the judicial backlogs can be reduced and certain innovative measures in this direction will be taken up. The next article, good governance beyond motherhood and apple pie. We'll see this article with respect to certain case studies of the good governance, a very important and good article. Fine, we'll take that. Questionable refusal. Okay, so this article talks about the Bilkis Bano case. So in the Supreme Court, fine, basically we know this particular thing, that few days back in the Gujarat, the 11 convicts into the Bilkis Bano rape case, they were released. Okay, and against that particular thing, a petition was filed in the Supreme Court, but the Supreme Court has refused to take that particular petition and had said that this particular matter contains concerns to the Gujarat government. Then a wasted chance. This article talks about the GST councils meet. Fine, we'll see this particular on this particular line. There is one more article on text and context page that has also come. Iran at a political crossroads. Fine, so we'll see that what's important contained in this article. Trust and mistrust into the Karnataka. Okay, so guys, basically the article, okay, is not containing that much substance with respect to the exam. Basically the article is politically inclined. Kerala tops the countries in terms of the citizens with the passports. Okay, so guys, here we can see that the numbers of the different the numbers of citizens holding the passports in different states have been given, but you are not required to track that particular data for your examination, not that much important. Then moving on, decriminalization of the offenses under the GST. Then next, deep fake technology, how and why China is planning to regulate it. An important article with respect to the exam, we'll see this. Then further moving on, missile destroyer IRNS Marmagao commissioned into the Indian Navy. So project 15, we will understand what it is. Then further moving on, after that guys, net direct tax revenue up 20%. Fine. Okay, so understand this particular thing, that I have told you many number of times that month to month data or such evolutionary data onto the debt, tax collection, inflation, etc., you don't need to track it every now and then. When in the last budget and economic survey will come, we'll see the holistic overall picture for throughout the year. Then next, moving on, northeast is not last part of country but the gateway for the trade and ties. Okay, then guys, the political articles, etc., has been given. Inclusion of communities on ST list still on the back burner. So guys, this article, it is just talking about that there were certain names of the STs who were recommended few years back, particularly into the Odisha, but up till now their name has not been cleared. India pushes for new biodiversity fund. This is an important article. We'll see the article. Concerns over Chinese contractors holds up India Nepal power trade. We'll see that what is the issue that has happened. Then moving on, so guys, today, as it's Monday, on Monday economy page doesn't comes. This is the money wise page. Now this money wise page, it is basically, it contains the investing stock market related articles, and today's article is talking about that why there is a 70 to 75% decline into the stock of the Meta, why Meta's stock has declined so much. Okay, then next, moving on. In fresh attack, Russia troops target heart of Kherson city. So you are not required to track everyday developments in this Russia-Ukraine issue that is going on. Fine. Then moving on, anti-abortion priest Pavano defrogged the blasphemous post on the social media. Articles are not that much important. And then on the sports page, we see the FIFA World Cup, which was won by the Argentina. That coverage has been given. So this is, guys, the overview of the entire newspaper, and now let's discuss all the relevant articles one by one in the detail. Now, starting up, so in every class we take a GS quotation, and this GS quotations can be used to complement your GS answers 1, 2, 3, 4 as well as the essay. So today we'll take the quotation from Thomas Jefferson. So Thomas Jefferson, one of the founding father of the US, says that when government fears the people, there is liberty. But when the people fear the government, there is a tyranny. So government fearing the people, it means that the government has a sense of accountability, and if that particular accountability is furnished and if government has not performed as per the government's role, then the people then people can hold the government accountable for that thing. So if the government is fearing the people because of the accountability, it means that there is a liberty of the people. Okay, but if the people are fearing the government, there is a tyranny. Why? Because it is the people who have appointed the state, who have appointed the government for their own welfare. So they are not required to fear the government in a democratic system. Okay. So this is the quotation. You can use it in GS2. You can use it in GS paper number 2 and GS paper number 4. Now, moving on. Deep fake technology, how and why China is planning to regulate it. Okay, this particular article will see with respect to GS paper number 3, cyber technologies and issues related with the cyber technologies. Okay, now let's take the article. Before going in this article, guys, what we understand by this deep fake, let's take this particular thing and let's understand it in a very simple manner. So basically, guys, few years back, you might have known the concept of the photoshopping of the image. Now, what is the, just a minute. Okay, now we find this particular thing that there were the morphed photographs. Now, on a body of a person, some another person's face can be applied. Okay, so that was the morphing of photographs. But now the technology has advanced a lot, and today by the technology it is possible that even the fake videos can be made. Find the videos or the fake media. These deep fakes are also called as a synthetic media. Such medias can be made where the people will be shown that they are doing something which they have actually never done. They are saying something which they have never actually have said. Last year on the festival of the Diwali, actually last year on the festival of Diwali, the Cadbury came out with an ad campaign where the Shah Rukh Khan was shown that he is basically what happened. You can go onto the website of the Cadbury, and if you are running a shop, you can put their name and it will be giving you a video clipping. In that video clipping, the Shah Rukh Khan is speaking the name of your shop. Okay, and is even speaking the name of the location where your shop is located. So this is a kind of an ad campaign. Now the Shah Rukh Khan never is having that particular bandwidth that individually he will shoot the videos for all these kind of things. So basically that was a synthetic media, that is a deep fake. So today by the technology we can make such kind of a videos where the people are speaking, they are doing something, but actually they have never done that. These are the deep fake videos. Now, so you can say this particular thing that they are the compilation of artificial images, audio put together with machine learning algorithm, and many a number of times these deep fakes are used to spread misinformation. They are used to replace a real person's appearance. Okay, this is something that can be done. Now basically we have seen that over the years the deep fakes are being used for many wrong and illegal purposes. For example, they are being used for scams, hoaxes. Celebrity pornographies are very rampant into the deep fake technology. election manipulation, many number of times, basically the many number of times we see this particular thing that the leaders are made to say something which they have never done, okay, by the deep fake. Then for the social engineering it is happening, automated disinformation attacks are being carried, identity theft is being done, financial frauds are being carried by these deep fakes. So these deep fakes, on this particular thing, China has came out to regulate this deep fake technology. And what China has come, China has came out with a new policy, and as per this policy to regulate the deep fakes, China is providing that anybody who is making the doctored content, okay, has to label that this is a deep fake video. You cannot upload a video which is doctored without labeling it. So you have to label it, and it should be it should be tracked back to its source from where you have made that particular video. So it should be tracked back to their source. Moreover, it also provides this particular thing, that if you are making a deep fake where somebody else's voice is being used or somebody else's video is being edited, then the consent has to be taken from that particular person in the question, okay. So without taking the consent of that person, you cannot use their voice or you cannot make their video. Moreover, it has also been provided that if the deep fake is being used if the deep fake is being used to report some kind of an event, okay, or for some news reposting, if it is being used, then the news has to be taken from the government website only. You cannot take the news from other website, okay. So it has to be taken from the government or the government approved list of news outlets, okay. So government or government approved news outlets. Then basically the deep synthesis service providers, they need to abide by the local laws, they need to respect the ethics, cyber ethics, they need to respect, and they need to maintain the correct political direction, correct public opinion, okay. This is something that has been provided. Now apart from the China, there are the other countries also who are actively working on regulating the deep fakes. Here we have the example of European Union. So European Union has recently updated their code of practices. Now in this code of practices, they have specifically taken certain steps to reduce the deep fakes, and they have asked specifically the tech companies such as Google, Meta, Twitter, that they have to take the measures to counter deep fakes and the fake accounts on their platforms. It has been provided that if these tech companies will not be regulating or will not be controlling the deep fakes onto their platforms, then the 6% of their annual global turnover, the penalties up till 6% of their annual global turnover can be imposed on them. Then in the similar capacity, the USA has also came out with the Deep Fake Task Force Act. Now under this Deep Fake Task Force Act, they have under this particular act, they will assist the Department of Homeland Security to counter the deepfake technology. Okay. Then in India, we don't have any specific law to counter the deepfake. We don't have any specific law. But under the present provisions of the Copyright Act, fine, under the Copyright Act, they can be taken up. Under the defamation provisions that we are having in our statutes, basically defamation can be taken up. For example, you made a video of some celebrity, and then celebrity can file a case against you under the defamation, that why you have made that particular video. Then under the cyber crimes, the cyber felonies, for that particular thing we have the IT Act. So there the deepfakes can be taken, but we don't have a specific law identifying the deepfakes. Okay, so that is all guys about this particular article. I hope that you have understood this particular issue, and now we'll move to the next article. India pushes for new biodiversity fund. India pushes for new biodiversity fund. Now, what is this particular new biodiversity fund all about? We'll see this particular thing. The article will be important for the GS paper number 3, Environment, Ecology and Conservation. Now, uh, basically guys, understand this particular thing. Recently, the COP Conference of Parties of the UNFCCC, United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, was held. That was held into the Egypt. Okay, so that was held on to the Egypt, and we have taken that particular thing also from time to time when it was going on. Now, understand this particular thing, guys, that there is one more type of COP that has been held. That is the COP of the CBD. COP of the CBD. So there are the two types of COP that had come into the news recently. COP stands for Conference of Parties. The Conference of Parties of UNFCCC that has recently held into the Egypt. It was the 27th COP. That is different topic. Coming to this topic, this is also the COP, again the Conference of Parties, but this Conference of Parties, it is of the Convention of Biological Diversity, CBD, Convention of Biological Diversity. Now, Convention of Biological Diversity was proposed in the Rio Earth Summit of 1992 to conserve the biodiversity which is getting threatened because of the anthropogenic man-made reasons. Now, time to time, the members who are the signatory of the Convention of Biological Diversity, they meet, and these meetings are called as the Conference of Parties. Now, the 15th Conference of Party of the CBD has held in the Canada in Montreal. So what are the key takeaways? What are the India's prepositions in this COP that has been held? We are going to discuss in this particular article. Now, what are the objectives of this CBD, that is Convention of Biological Diversity? Objective number one, the conservation of biological diversity. Objective number two, sustainable use of its components. Okay, so when we talk about biodiversity, let's say there are the plants. Okay, now these plants have multiple purposes. They have medicinal purposes, they have usages into the modern industry. So you should use these biodiversity and their resources in such a way that it is sustainable. Even the future generation should access to that. Then fair and equitable sharing of benefits arising out of the genetic resources. Okay, so everybody should be given a fair share on that. This is something. Then further moving on. So COP15, which I am telling you, is being held into the Montreal, Canada. Now the parties of this CBD, they are finalizing the negotiation to create a post 2020 global biodiversity framework. Now understand this particular thing. Post 2020, what steps we need to take so that the biodiversity loss that is happening, particularly because of the climate change, that particular biodiversity loss can be reduced. Is it clear or not? There is a question, sir, PDF kahan milega? PDF is available on Telegram. Telegram channel ka link is given in description box in YouTube. So from there you can get the PDF. Okay. So basically post 2020, how can we restrict the biodiversity loss? So for all that particular thing, the framework is being finalized. Now in this CBD COP15 that has been held, the world is divided between the developing and the developed country. Now this division is there in almost all the multilateral platforms that are there. It is going on into the WTO. It is going into it has been there into the COP27 or the COPs of UNFCCC, and here also it is going on. So the developing countries, they are demanding that there should be a new and dedicated biodiversity fund that should be created, and this biodiversity fund should specifically be providing the money to the poor and to the developing countries so that they can halt the biodiversity loss that is happening. Now understand this particular thing, biodiversity loss often is also linked with the climate change that is happening. Now when climate change is concerned, it has been said that historically high polluters, high emitters are the developed countries. So the developed countries are the polluters. For that, because of that, climate change is happening, and from the climate change, biodiversity loss is happening. So therefore a new fund here also is needed. Now particularly India has proposed this particular thing, that a dedicated fund will help developing countries to implement this post 2020 global framework that we are now discussing. Here it has been provided that up till now there is only one major fund, that is Global Environment Facility. But this Global Environment Facility, it is common to both, that is UNFCCC, United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. Okay, it is common to the United Nations Convention to combat desertification. So this is the one fund which is providing money under so many of the conventions, and this particular fund is not sufficient. So we need one more new fund which specifically be providing the support to the developing countries. But here the developed countries are not ready, and when these COP15 was going on, there was even a time when the developing countries walked out of that particular convention, out of this particular meeting as a protest. Fine. Now, it is also being provided by the India that the conservation of biodiversity should also be based on the CBDR principle, that is common but differentiated responsibility principle. Now, the CBDR principle is very prominent into the environmental negotiations that go on. As per the CBDR principle, it is said that to stop the climate change is a common responsibility, but it is differentiated. Developed countries need to do more than the developing countries. So CBDR principle is there in the climate change negotiations, but now in the CBD also India wants to bring that, but developed countries are not supporting such a kind of an idea. Fine. According to India, applying the CBDR principle to biodiversity conservation uh, 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 should be brought, but actually I told you it has not been straightforward, because the global north and global south, that is the global north, the developed countries, and south, the developing countries, are widely divided. Moreover, there is one more proposal that was put forward into the COP 15, and this proposal was that we need to eliminate the subsidies that are harmful to the environment. Let's say refinery industry is getting some kind of a subsidy, let's say coal sector is getting some kind of a subsidy. So all the subsidies which are harmful to the environment, they are needed to be reduced. For example, subsidies onto the fossil fuel production, subsidy on agriculture, okay, subsidy on the forestry, fisheries, okay, if they are harming the environment, they are needed to be reduced, and we need to aim that every year gradual reduction is to be done, okay. $500 billion annually subsidies are to be reduced, okay, and the subsidies that will be reduced, the money that will be saved, this particular money is to be used for biodiversity conservation, okay. The money should be used for the biodiversity conservation. Now, basically India India is also supporting this particular plan, but on one front India is not very much comfortable, that is reducing the agriculture related subsidy. Now, according to India, we actually having a large population which is dependent on agriculture, and the many farmers are either the marginal farmers or the small farmers. So therefore, to make the agriculture viable, the government has to give subsidy to them. So that subsidies cannot be reduced by India as a matter of the poverty alleviation. So this proposal has not been supported by India, only on the agriculture aspect. So that's all about this particular article, guys. And now we'll move to the next article. Okay. Missile destroyer INS Marmagao commissioned into Indian Navy. Now, basically this particular article, guys, will see with respect to the prelims examination, because in prelims such kind of a questions can be there with the related details, and then with respect to the GS paper number 3, it can be seen as an example of indigenization of defense, okay. Now let's see the article. Basically, guys, when we talk about the India has a coastline of more than 7,500 kilometers, and India's 7,500 kilometer coastline actually is it is actually something which gives India a lot of benefits. It gives India a lot of strategic importance, but at the same time, India also becomes vulnerable to the marine-borne threats. For example, when the Mumbai terror attacks happened, so the terrorists, they came from the sea. Is it clear or not? So we need to protect our coast, we need to protect our coastlines. Moreover, at the same time, as Pacific Ocean, Indo-Pacific region is becoming an important zone having strategic and economic importance, India always talks about the free and order-based movement in the Indo-Pacific. And for that particular thing, also we need to have a big naval fleet. Moreover, towards the Horn of Africa, Somalia, etc., there is a lot of piracy that happens, okay, and in order to bring down the piracy also, India needs to enhance its naval fleets. In this particular direction, guys, what has happened? India had started multiple projects, okay. We have discussed them time by time also. Now today we are going to discuss the project 15B. Project 15B. Now this project 15B was signed in 2011, and under this project 15B there are the four naval warships that will be developed by India, and these four naval warships will be named by the four Indian cities. So basically what had happened, INS Marmagao, which was one out of the four ships, it is one out of the four ships that have been planned, it has been inducted, it has been commissioned in the Indian Navy. Now when we talk about the INS Marmagao, okay, I will discuss about these particular features also. Now basically the design now the design of the ships, all the four ships that will be designed under the project 15B, it has been developed in house by the Directorate of Naval Design and Construction, okay, by the Mazgaon dock ship builders into the Mumbai. Now basically these four ships, they are the follow up on the Kolkata class destroyer ships, and they will be named after the four cities, that is the Vishakhapatnam, Marmagao, Imphal and Surat. So these will be the four ships. Now out of that, INS Vishakhapatnam has already been commissioned in 2021. Now the INS Marmagao is commissioned now in 2022, and the other remaining two, that is INS Imphal and the Surat, they are doing their sea trials, and when their sea trials will be completed, they will also be inducted. They are into the various stages of the outfitting and such kind of a trials. So with this, the four ships which were to be developed under the project 15B will gradually be inducted into the Indian Navy. Now when we talk about the INS Marmagao particularly, this particular ship has a lot of stealth. It has a lot of stealth, it has a lot of features, okay, which makes it the state of the art warship. First of all, 75% of the 75% of the components into the INS Marmagao, they are indigenously procured. Now what are the capabilities of this particular ship? Number one, it is equipped with the BrahMos. It is equipped with the BrahMos supersonic cruise missile. Now the BrahMos missile, it is a joint initiative between India and Russia. Then it also has the long range surface to air missiles. It has it also has surface to surface and surface to surface missiles, torpedo tube missiles. It also has anti-submarine rocket launchers, and because of that particular thing, its combative capabilities enhance. And when all these four ships will be commissioned into the Indian Navy, it will further enhance the might of the Indian Navy. Understand this particular thing, guys. There is a concept of the blue water navy. Blue water navy. Now if a country wants to become a superpower, all the superpowers have a blue water navy. Blue water navy is that navy which has the presence in all the oceans of the world. Now India is looking forward to become a superpower, but before that we need to have a blue water capable navy, and for that particular thing we need to have such naval ships, okay. We need to have naval ships on all such kind of fleets. So that is all, guys, about it, and now we'll be moving to the next article. Citizenship path to be eased for 6 minority groups from the 3 nations. So this particular article will see with respect to the GS paper number 2, polity, and within the polity, citizenship. Okay. Now before going in this particular article, guys, there will be a lot of confusions as, okay, is it the Citizenship Amendment Act, is it a new Amendment Act, or what is actually happening? So we'll understand and we'll clear all these particular confusions. So basically, guys, we have the Citizenship Act. We have the Citizenship Act 1955. Now the Citizenship Act 1955 majorly deals as how the citizenship of India can be acquired. Now guys, understand this particular thing, that when we talk about the Indian Constitution, we have the part 2 of the Indian Constitution which is majorly dealing with the citizenship, but the provisions there are not very elaborative. The provisions there are not very much detailed. Now the part 2 of the Indian Constitution provides that the citizenship, the detailed matters of the citizenship, they are to be decided by the parliament by the law, and to deal with those particular matter, the Citizenship Act of 1955 has been passed. This particular act is amended multiple number of times, okay. There was a Citizenship Amendment Act that came in 2019 also, and apart from these amendment, there are the rules that are actually framed from time to time to make this citizenship act functional, to make this citizenship act accommodative of the changing times and the changing priorities. Now coming back to the article, so basically, guys, when we talk about the citizenship, okay, the people who are not the citizens of India, they can also acquire the citizenship of India. There are multiple ways. For example, naturalization is there, registration is there, they can acquire the citizenship. Now basically what happened in 2015, fine, 7 years back, 2015, government has actually amended the citizenship rules, and they have legalized the stays of the migrants of the 6 communities who have entered in India from 3 countries. Citizenship Amendment Act we'll discuss laterwards because it came in 2019. Now I am talking about the 2015 citizenship rules that came. So in 2015 citizenship rules, government provided this particular thing, that the people from 6 communities, that is Hindus, Sikhs, Parsis, Christians, Buddhists, Jains, from 3 countries, and these 3 countries are Pakistan, Afghanistan and Bangladesh. Now, who have entered in India before December 2014? So 6 communities from these 3 countries, if they have entered India before 2014, and even if their visa has expired, and if they are facing any kind of a persecution, if they are facing any kind of a threat in their own country, they can stay there even without the documents. They can stay here even without the documents. They will not be put in jail, they will not be put into the detention center, and they will not be coming under the purview of the Passport Act. They will not be coming under the purview of the Foreigners Act. Even if their passports have expired, they can stay. This is something that has happened. Now guys, this is one thing. However, if now they can stay, they will not be arrested. But if they want to apply the citizenship, for that the process is different. Now guys, it has been provided that you need to live at least for 11 years in total if you want to apply for the citizenship. Now when they are applying for the citizenship, many number of times the portals basically actually the portal, it is not accepting if their visa and their passport have expired. Fine. Now basically it is being provided, you can see this particular thing here, that fine, if the people who entered in India, if their passport and the visa got expired in 2009, okay, then that particular thing is not being accepted. So therefore now the citizenship rules will be amended so that the portal can accept even if the visa and passport have expired before 2009. Now what happens? Basically, if it is expired, then these people have to go to the High Commission of Pakistan, okay, and they have to they have to renew their visas and their passports, and it takes a lot of money. So basically this particular portal will be changed. Okay, this is something that is going to happen. Now this plan or this change has been planned. Up till now it has not happened, it has not been executed, but the government is planning to bring this particular kind of an amendment. Now when we talk about guys the Citizenship Amendment Act, Citizenship Amendment Act came in 2019, and it intended to grant the citizenship to undocumented migrants. Undocumented, the people who don't have any document, they don't have passport, they don't have visa, even they can get the citizenship. And it has been provided that in total, earlier if you want to acquire the citizenship, you need to live 11 years in total in India, and only after you have lived for 11 years you can apply for the citizenship. But the people, that is the 6 communities that we have discussed, coming from the 3 countries, if they have lived for 5 years, and if they are not having the documents, they will become eligible. But this Citizenship Amendment Act has not actually come in the news. Why it has not come in? The Citizenship Act actually has not been implemented. Why? Because the rules have not got passed. The rules did not got passed. Is it clear or not? Fine. So therefore this has not came in the place, though passed, but the rules have not came in existence. Okay, now one thing I want to tell you guys, please don't sweat out a lot, on this article, because amendment or the change, amendment is not coming, rules that are to be coming, they have to be passed, they have to be framed. Up till now nothing has happened. This is all about it. Now we'll be moving to the next article. India's crushing court backlogs out of the box reforms. Okay, India's crushing court backlogs out of the box reforms. This particular article will be important for GS paper number 2, judicial reforms. GS paper number 2, judicial reforms. Okay, so basically guys, what has happened, if you're following the newspaper articles regularly, we have seen this particular thing, that recently a matter came in the news with respect to the high number of judicial pendencies, and there Justice D.Y. Chandrachud also provide this particular thing, that often whenever the judicial backlog comes, a suggestion is given. That suggestion is that increase the number of the judges, but increasing the number of judges is not going to solve a problem. Why? Because many other changes are needed, number one. And number two, we don't have even the people who are willing to become the judge at the High Court or Supreme Court. Finding the talent who can serve well in the High Court and Supreme Court, it is a very big problem. So they have said that it is very difficult enough to find the good High Court judge material people, and therefore it was provided that we need an out of box solution. So the chairman of the Parliamentary Standing Committee on the Law and Justice provided that out of box solution is needed, and even Chief Justice of India also said that we need to find a different way as how to reduce the judicial backlog. Now, in this particular capacity, guys, there are certain suggestions that have been given in this particular article. We are going to discuss them one by one. Number one, we find this particular thing that the retirement age at the High Court is 62 years, and because of that particular thing, the judges get retired. But it is being suggested, देखो, in the past also the suggestion has come that we need to increase the retirement age to 65 years at least, on par with the Supreme Court. Fine. So either we can increase their age, or they should allow to continue with the pay at the prerequisites. Fine. Why? Because these are the really talented judges and we need to retain them. So this is one thing that can be done. Second thing that is there is that the judges who have been retired from Supreme Court, retired Supreme Court judges, they should be invited to hear the special leave petition cases. Special leave petition cases. So the cases directly come to the Supreme Court on the basis of the SLP, special leave petition, and basically the biggest backlog that is there into the Supreme Court, it is of the special leave petition cases. So these cases should be heard by the Supreme Court retired judges. Okay, that can be done. Then thirdly, it has been provided, guys, that the working hours and working schedules can be fixed flexibly to accommodate the retired judges. Now you see this particular thing. Let's say the normal daytime should be reserved or should be there for the routine judges who are there, the regular judges, but in the evening time or the morning time can be given to the retired judges. So therefore what will happen, the capacity of the existing infrastructure, capacity of the existing courtrooms will be doubled. This is something that can be done. Moreover, the scheme, we can also start with a scheme. Okay, we can also start a scheme where the experienced High Court senior advocates can sit as a judge once a week to hear the matters from the other state high courts. So the High Court from, let's say, Rajasthan, the advocate from the Rajasthan High Court can become a judge and can sit onto the bench to hear the matter from some other state High Court. This can be done. Then the next thing that is being provided is that, guys, basically we need to strengthen the online justice and online mediation. Now, let's first talk about the online justice. So into the times of COVID-19 pandemic, virtual court hearings were happening, online court hearings were happening, but now again what has happened, the courts have returned to the physical format and the online court hearings are going down. It has been provided that the physical hearings should continue, but at the same time what can happen, the ad hoc judges can be appointed, retired judges can be appointed, and from their home, okay, through the work from home, from their home, they can provide the online facilities for the online court hearings can be taken by them. So by this particular thing also, the capacity of the courts will be increased. Okay. Then the next thing that is coming here is that basically we need to adopt the mediation. Now what we understand by the mediation? Mediation is a kind of an alternate dispute resolution. In this mediation or the alternative dispute resolution, parties will not reach to the regular judiciary, rather they'll try to settle that particular matter through some other ways. So within the ADR there is one mediation. So in mediation what happened, disputing parties solve their particular dispute through the negotiations which is assisted by a neutral third party. So these mediations can be carried, and these mediations can solve large number of personal and matrimonial and civil commercial property disputes. Now these civil disputes, commercial disputes, property disputes, these are the largest category of the backlog that's there. Okay, it can be reduced. And then finally it is being provided that to enhance the mediation, we can also establish the All India Mediation Service that can be created under the line of the judicial services. So these trained and these skilled mediators can also help in reducing the cases. Okay, so therefore the conventional wisdom, the conventional idea, that is more staff, more judge, more infrastructure, that is not going to solve the problem. Within the existing infrastructure, we need to bring certain suitable changes. That is all about it, and now we'll move to the next article. Good governance beyond the motherhood and apple pie. Now, this particular article, guys, is talking about certain good governance reforms. Good governance reform. So, therefore, this article will be important for the GS paper number 2, and in the governance related issues, GS paper number 4 also, the article can be seen. Now, basically, guys, as we talk about the present week, that is the 19th December to 25 December, this particular week is being celebrated as the Good Governance Week. And the theme of the 2022 Good Governance Week is सुशासन सप्ताह प्रशासन गांव की ओर 2022 national wide campaign. So special focus will be given onto the villages and good governance on the villages. Now this particular 1 week long campaign that is going on, it will focus on improving the service delivery, improving the good, to provide the good services, okay, to resolve the public grievances across all the tehsils, all the districts of India. Okay, now moving on. Basically, there's one question, sir, PDF kahan pe milega? Ajay, PDF is available on Telegram channel. Telegram link is given in description box. Okay. Now, when we talk about India, India has a lot of examples about the good governance. Let's see these examples one by one. At the same time, there are certain limitations, certain challenges also. We'll see that also. Number one, guys. Basically, in the past few years, we have seen that India had repealed many of the outdated laws, rules and regulations, and in total 2000 of the outdated acts, statutes, subordinate legislations which were a lot older, they have been removed. Fine, many amendments, basically many changes that have been done. It is the Excise Act of 1863, Foreigners Recruiting Act of 1874, and many other kind of legislations have also been repealed. This is a very important thing to declutter the governance. Then the next thing that is coming is that other meaningful reforms in the good governance has also been brought. For example, from 1998 to 2018, 30 years, there was a very vague provision in the basically into the Prevention of Corruption Act. I'll explain that particular thing. So basically, what happened? If there is any pecuniary benefit, pecuniary means the benefit related to money. If there is any monetary benefit that has happened to the private parties without public interest, regardless as whether there was an intent to cause such gain or not, it was constituted as a criminal misconduct by a public servant. So if a public servant did some kind of an activity and by that particular thing some financial advantage or some financial gain happened to some other person, then the public servant civil servant will be charged for corruption. Doesn't matter whether he had specifically done something wrong or not, whether the intention was there to do wrong or not, whether the knowledge was there or not, but the person will be charged. Now this particular thing has deterred many of the good civil servants to act. Okay, they became very fearful of this particular provisions and they were not actually acting. Now this particular amendment has been changed and now the government has scrapped it by the amendment into the Prevention of Corruption Act 2018 that came. So today the officers are acting without the fear. Then the next thing that has come here is that government had come out with the many of the digital initiatives to enhance the governance. For example, DigiLocker has come, and today there are more than 5 billion documents and there are more than 100 million users which are there onto the DigiLocker. After that, we find this particular thing that today the PAN card, GSTN number, Aadhaar card, bank account details, fine, all these particular documents are being stored onto the DigiLocker. Then the Karnataka government's case study has been given where the Karnataka has implemented many of the good case studies, good initiatives for enhancing the governance. For example, there is a Kutum initiative. Kutum, what it is a family beneficiary database. Okay, so a family card has been created. Then next is the fruits. Fruits stand for Farmer Registration and Unified Beneficiary Information Number, so that all the farmer related schemes, farmer related interventions that the government had done, they can reach them, farmers can know them. Next is the Swamitwa. What is Swamitwa? Swamitwa scheme. Here under the Swamitwa scheme, by the drone, the land mapping is being done so that the land titles can be digitized, land records can be updated. So Swamitwa is the drone-based property and land mapping survey. Fine. So this is something that is happening. Then the Gram 1. What is Gram 1? single point assistance center for the citizen centric activity at the panchayat level. So whatever facilities, whatever the support the citizens need, they can take that from this gram 1. Then next thing is that there are certain limitations also. Basically, even today, on the front of the ease of doing business, there are many issues that are coming. There is a no state, or even the government of India had not done this particular thing. They have not actually created a portal where all the compliances that are needed to start a business, they can be known. Today, if a businessman wants to start a business, different government, different ministries, department have different compliances, and for that particular thing, 40 to 50 different websites are to be seen. This takes a lot of time, that exhausts a lot of energy. Reserve Bank of India has adopted the concept of master circular, and in this master circular, all the basically policy changes, etc., the Reserve Bank of India notifies. So basically, on this particular line, we need to have a master website which contains all the compliances across all the ministries that are needed at one place, but this has not happened. Then next, it is being provided that the technology can also be enhanced to improve the quality of governance. For example, they had said this thing, that there are the many startups such as the Avantari, Rephrase.ai. Here they use the artificial intelligence, machine learning to create the mass personalization advertising and communication. So what they are proposing here? They are proposing that a curated, a customized advertising campaign can be created where the prime minister or the chief minister will be using your name and will be telling you that these schemes you can take advantage of. Okay, so this is in a way a kind of a synthetic media, or a kind of a deep fake can be created where a video will be shown. So you remember the first article. So such kind of a AI based media can be prepared. So the example is also given. Imagine the prime minister or the chief minister addressing every citizen in the constituency by the name and having a personalized message about the various welfare schemes. So this is something that has been provided. And then finally, basically guys, we also need to increase the tax to GDP ratio in India. When we talk about the civic services, health, education services in the countries such as the Scandinavia, USA, we say that such kind of facilities should be there in India also. But if you see the tax to GDP ratio, is around 45% in USA, but in India it is around 11 to 12%. So such tax to GDP ratio is also needed to be increased. We need to identify that how the tax compliances can be enhanced. So this is guys all about this particular article. Now moving to the next article. Iran at a political crossroads. Now guys, in the article, much of a substance is not given. The article is talking about the internal protest that is going on into the Iran, and there are the 3 points which are important in this entire article. Beyond that, you don't need to go. Now, first of all, we have seen this particular thing, that the protest started into the Iran, where a particular woman who was arrested because she had allegedly not worn the hijab in a proper way. Okay, so she was arrested, then she died in the custody, and then the people started to protest. Okay, and the protest campaign such as the Women Life and Freedom, they started up. Now understand in this particular direction guys, that 500 people have been killed, 20,000 people have been detained. No, you don't need to remember this particular number. Because of this particular issue that is going on recently, fine, that is on the December 14th, what has happened, the United Nations Economic and Social Council, ECOSOC, it had expelled Iran from UN Commission on Status of Women. From UN Commission on Status of Women, from here Iran has been expelled. Please keep this particular fact in your mind for the prelims examination, very important. Now when we talk about the Commission on Status of Women from which Iran is expelled, this particular commission is this is the commission under ECOSOC, that is United Nations Economic and Social Council, and this commission particularly works for promoting gender equality and empowerment of women. But here Iran was not doing that, and therefore Iran has been expelled. So this is just one, actually these are just the 3 points that you need to keep in mind. Beyond that, nothing important is contained in the article. Now moving on. Concerns over Chinese contractor holds up India-Nepal power trade. Now basically, when we talk about the Nepal, we find this particular thing, that because of the geographical topography of Nepal, there are very high flowing rivers in Nepal, and these high flowing rivers of Nepal can be harnessed, can be leveraged for developing the hydropower. And for that particular thing, India and Nepal had also carried has also signed a memorandum of understanding. Now understand this particular thing. What happens, India and Nepal are looking for a hydropower trade. For example, the excess electricity in the Nepal, fine, they can be provided to the consumers from India, Bangladesh and Sri Lanka. This is the plan. Now, many rivers are there, many dams are there, and there is one particularly project in Nepal which is situated with along with the Tibet border of the China. So basically, the Tamkoshi River, on Tamkoshi River, there is a Nepal's Three Gorges Dam. Okay, on Tamkoshi River, Nepal's Three Gorges Dam. On this particular dam, there were the negotiations that happened between the India and Nepal, and both the countries signed signed a power trading agreement in 2014. And as per this power trading agreement, what will happen? India will provide the assistance. Basically, this particular dam will be upgraded, and the electricity that will be generated, it will be sold to the Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, India, etc. Clear? So this is something. So electricity cooperation in the hydropower sector will be done. Now this project was there, and there are multiple other projects also. Okay, not this is the only project, other projects also where such kind of a cooperation is being done. Now the problem has come is that actually what has happened, to build these particular projects, to upgrade them, okay, the Nepal has used the Chinese contractors. Nepal has used the Chinese contractors. Now, as Chinese contractors have been brought, and as India-China relations are not going well, so India has expressed the concern over that particular kind of a thing. Now, Nepal says this thing that we invited the applications by a kind of an open bidding process. There was an open bidding process by which we invited the tenders, and who so was the deserving on the objective parameters, they have been allowed. But this is not something that was our intention. Okay, so therefore India is not happy with the Chinese contractors playing the role in the India Nepal energy or electricity cooperation. Okay, this is all about it. Fine. Now guys, moving to the next article, decriminalization of offenses under GST. Now this is one entire page article that has come on the text and context page, and there is also one side article that came onto the editorial page on the recent 48th GST Council meet that has happened. 48th GST Council meet that has happened. Now, understand this particular thing, that there are certain offenses under GST Act of 2017. For example, if a person claimed GST in a wrong way, if a person did not paid the GST, if a person had done the tax evasion, such kind of a behaviors are punishable. Now there are criminal punishments, criminal liabilities that can be imposed. People can be jailed. So what has happened, certain of the acts got decriminalized, certain of the offenses, certain of the things have got decriminalized. Now in this particular article, actually the limits, for example, earlier the compliance was for more than 1 crore, it got increased to 2 crore, different sections, etc. has been mentioned. We don't need to go in the every meeting of the GST Council, and these provisions we don't need to see. Why? Because we are not preparing for the CA exam, we are preparing for the UPSC exam. So you are not required to go too much into the detail. Just in one line we can use this particular example, that to improve the ease of doing business, India recently under the GST Council had decriminalized certain of the provisions under the GST Act. Just that's it. Okay. Now, mains practice question for today. So guys, understand, I tell you many number of times that we need to have this particular wisdom that which article are actually important for UPSC examination. And this is the very important thing and the first and the most important skill of a UPSC aspirant. Now, the mains practice question for today. Digital empowerment of citizen and digital transformation of institution is a step towards good governance. Elucidate with relevant example. So that this question will be for GS paper number 2, governance related issues, and it will be a 10 marker question. So that is all guys about it, and with this we come to an end. So guys, now we'll be meeting tomorrow. Till then, please take care of yourselves, and if you have liked the video, please do like, please